Okay, I was just asked about how to create a binary variable. So find a variable that I can make a binary variable out of. So I've once before made a well, two level, a four level variable out of BMI. BMI is a continuous variable in SPSS. So I'm using SPSS for this. This is considered a scale variable. That's just another way of saying a continuous variable. That's in their language or vernacular. So let's see where we could cut this variable. So a binary variable has two levels. We want to create a dummy variable. Dummy variable is coded 0 or 1. And people have reasons for doing it. Perhaps you want to do an analysis and compare people who are, at some level of BMI versus another. So let's take a look at this variable. We'll do a quick analysis. And I'm going to use the dropdown for this. This is a small data set, but I'll also do syntax to show you. So let me take a look at this variable. And I'm going to actually run frequencies. I mean, I could do other things too, but I want to run a frequency just to take a look at the variable itself. And even though you can have a large number of values for BMI, and I will get a large number of values, I can look at a good cut point by doing frequency distribution. So you see there's a lot of values for BMI. And see, I can determine like what's a what's a good comparison area. So if I'm doing something for epidemiology or public health, generally we look at worst case scenario versus the rest. Or if you're studying psychology and you're looking at something like anorexia, you want find a cutoff for those who are considered anorectic, and then you do that be one, and then zero would be else. But in this case, I'm going to look at I'm going to pick something like the top 25%, right? The last quartile. So we can see here that a good cut point for the top 25% would be 25. So 25 or above would be one, and then everybody else would be zero. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to compare those who have BMI of 25 or above, because that's at the 75th percentile. That means it's at or above 75% of all values, to those who are below it. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to go to transform. I'm going to recode into a new variable. You can recode into either the same variable or a new variable, but this way I'm going to create a new binary BMI variable. So we're going to take BMI. In SPSS, if you right click, if you're not using Mac, I don't know how to do this with Mac, but there's a way for it to right click with a PC. I can display variable names. Generally, I know the variable name better. I'll drag this in here, and I'm going to give this a new variable name by underscore BMI. I have to use an underscore because you cannot have spaces when you create variables in SPSS, the variable. So we'll call this a binary BMI. For the label, you can, and hit the change. So you'll see this BMI is going to become binary BMI, and we're going to do old and new values. And there's a whole bunch of different options you can do here. You can enter one value at a time, but with all the values we have, that's not going to make sense to do that. So we'll do a range. We're going to go range lowest to, well, let's see go back to, I can't see that now. I think it was 75. So it's 75 and above would be one. So we'll go lowest, let me see. I'll do it this way instead. I'll do value through highest. Okay, there you go. 75 through the highest value will be given a value of 1. Okay. But again, this is the variable I'm interested the value I'm interested in. People who are at the 75th percentile or above. That means they weigh at or have a BMI at or above 75% of the population or sample in this case, but samples represent populations, or higher, right? So 75 or above. And the reason I'm doing this is because I couldn't see what the value is below 75. I could go 74.9999 or something like that, right? Low range lowest through that would be 0. So I have this. I'm going to set this as value 1, hit add. Okay. 75 through highest is 1. And then since I've already taken care of all missing values, I'm going to make all other values equal 0. Again, because I don't have to worry about some extreme cases because I've already included those. I've already cleaned the data set, so it doesn't have any extreme values. What I mean by cleaning is like if there's some weird values in there, I've taken care of them already. I've set them as system missing. Hit add. All right. Output variables are string. No, they're not strings. I hit continue and hit OK here. That should give me a new binary variable. So let's check this out. See what frequency distribution, descriptive statistics, frequencies, and our new variable. Let's remove this old variable. New variable is always last and hit OK. So now it should be OK. Uh-oh. So something went wrong here. Good. Well, what did I do wrong here? Oh, I see what I did wrong. Can you see what I did wrong here? Good. It's good that I make errors, right? So I put 75 in there. No, it should be 25, not 75. So it's good to make errors so you can see what I did wrong here. Let's try this again. Let's try it again. Let's do the transform recode into different variable. See, I did I think I did 75. Yeah, so let's remove this. Oops. So it's 25, not 75. 25. Continue. Oop, go back. I forgot to do, let's see, 25 is going to equal 1. There you go. That's better. Add. But see, that's why I check afterwards to make sure I didn't mess up. And I did. So now let's go back and let's run this again. Okay, so by the way, so I have it set up so that I get my code typed out every time I run something. If you don't know how to do that, go to I think it's edit. Yeah, go to edit and go to options and then go to viewer and then click the display command logs. I do this because if I'm working on syntax, I get examples of my syntax so I can actually just use it. So let's go and run this again and make sure that I didn't mess up this time. Frequencies. Okay. There you go. That worked. Okay, so we have 95 individuals, and they're roughly 24.2%. Pretty close, right? To where we had before. And then, I mean, we wanted to get the top 25%. And then we got uh 95 people meet that, and 298 didn't meet that criterion. So I can always check to see if, if I like the way I did it by running under descriptive statistics, running something like what was it, cross tabulation, but there's just a lot of values in that first variable, so it wouldn't make sense to do that. Cross tabulation is a table that generally you use with two binary variables, or maybe one binary and one that has 4 levels or so. All right, so that's how I do it this way. Now, I could also do it by code. Fortunately, I have all the code written here. So I could just copy this, right? And I go to my syntax file. See, here it is. And paste it in there. So that's one reason I like having the content printed out. But this is what the code looked like. You'd say recode BMI 25 through the highest, or you can even say 25 through high. If I just do H, see it says high, right? Same as highest, is equal to 1, else is 0, and I put it into this new variable. And this variable, the label for this variable is for the variable called by BMI. You have to do the variable separate here, the name of it, right? That's the name I created. And then its label. And I might want to also add something like some value labels that would help me. Value labels. And notice how SPSS, once you start typing, it'll find what you need, right? The command you need. Also, once I start typing my variable, it'll give me the option. I can just click this. The labels here would be 0 equals below, oops, let's do this. Quotation marks um, below 75th percentile, 75th, below 75th percentile. And then one, so let's say 75th percentile. 75th percentile. Space here. Okay, and then in order for this to work, I need another single quotation mark. So now if I run this, it'll recode it again, and this time it'll include the title. So here it says 0 and 1, the last run I did, but I should change it now if I, well, actually, let's do this with syntax. Instead of doing frequency with the dropdown, we'll do it with syntax. So let's do frequencies by BMI. Isn't this cool? By BMI gives everything for you. Oops, period. All right. I'm just going to run this real quick here, see if it works. There you go. See? So it gives you everything you want. Move this. So you have 298 below 75th percentile, 95 at the 75th should be at or above, but you could code it however you want to make it look nice. I get the frequency, I get the percentages. A valid percent and percent here are equal because I don't have any missing values here. If there were missing values, percent would include the proportion with missing. But again, I cleaned these data before, and you get our cumulative distribution going up from the lowest to the highest value. All right, so that's how you do that. I hope it helped. I hope my mistake was instructive. I always think they are, when you make mistakes, they're always good for you. All right, or good for me or whatever. All right, thank you very much.